yes, you can impact other people. You're able to impact, at least I felt that I was able to impact the men and women that worked under my charge, my peers, and my superiors. But I also made a very strong connection in the communities I worked with. I deliberately went out there and pursued connections with the folks that I was there to protect and serve. And those connections served me well.
Yeah, I mean, we're in the information business, right? I mean, policing is all about information. It's who's going to share what with you and at what point in the investigative process. And I've always used this analogy of a ladder. I used to say, if you're working in an area where nobody wants to talk to the police or nobody wants to share information with the police, every invest that you work, you're starting on the bottom rung and you just got to work your way up.
Well, you talked about something that continued learning. And even as I advanced, I learned things. I learned things from watching other people. I learned things from subordinates. So I talked to you about how important it was for me to make the connections in the community. And I did that. So when I finished my papers in the morning, as whatever rank I was at, say captain, and I'd go out and I'd patrol and I'd see people sitting on the porch. I'd park my car, go over and talk to them, make connections. You know, the old people, single family parents, they'd be sitting around, walking around. I get out and walk and introduce myself, and they would say, "We've never seen a white shirt here before. Lieutenants and above wore white shirts." And here I was, the captain or a deputy chief, and they were just shocked, and I give out my card. Well, I made connections with them, but it was later on in my career that I recognized that I was missing something there. So there was a sergeant that worked for me when I was running a uniform sector, Sergeant Jeff Hoop. What a fine man he was. So I made deputy chief and took over homicide division. Well, lo and behold, from time to time, Sergeant Jeff Hoop would show up and talk to some of the officials under me. Jeff Hoop made a connection, but he asked questions, which I didn't do. He talked to people. He had the same relationship with them that I did, but he'd ask them about open homicides. And I was down there and I saw firsthand, he closed 5 cases just from talking to people. He'd ask them questions. He had a relationship and he built it. I didn't realize that till later on. So continued learning, but this is a strong connection. You make the connection and then you can ask questions and then you get answers and then things happen. And I still remember him and what a fine work he did. And I didn't know that till later on in my career, but it's constant learning. And that's an important connection that that has to be stressed with police officers, police officials, that things can be built better. And those connections are critical in our operations to protect and serve.